guys in Arizona. Hope you're having a super fantastic sparkling day. Welcome to Before the Dirt Nap podcast, number 1962, Hidden Lives, Uncovering Obscure Occupations. I thought this would be a really cool topic. I came across a weird one today, and so I thought, wonder what that is. And so found some, so I went and did some searching and came up with this list of either uncommon historical occupations, ones that don't exist today. There are some that started way back in the Wayback Machine and they exist today. And then there's some that are sort of like, oh, never heard of that one before. So we've got a variety here. So we're going to start off with uncommon historical occupations. Some of these I was looking them up and typing them up, I was like, yeah, they could have a whole new meaning today, those words. But are you ready? I know I am. I have to say, but first of all, I have to say it has been an awesome day today. It's Shake It Up Saturday, and it certainly was a shake up today. I learned some stuff about moving down to New Zealand regarding taxes and corporations and everything else that I had no clue about. And had we not had a particular speaker at our mastermind gathering today, I would probably still be totally in the dark. And it probably would have cost me thousands of dollars. But now I'm going to save thousands of dollars. So anyway, but that's beside the point. All right, so now we are off to have a look at uncommon occupations. You have a knocker-up, KNOCKER-up. A knocker-up is a human alarm clock who would knock on windows to wake people before mechanical alarms existed. A knocker-up, yeah. I'm probably going to mispronounce some of these. You had a Luddite, Luddite, originally workers who opposed industrial machinery and sabotaged it. Later became a term for someone resistant to technology. A mudlark, someone who scavenged in river mud for items of value, often in urban areas like London. That was a mudlark, kind of similar to a beachcomber, but on river mud, I guess. A tosher, TOSHER, a sewer scavenger who searched for valuable items in city sewer systems. Yuck. That's all I can say. Oh my gosh. No, I just had this vision in my head. Oh, I don't need that vision. I need a drink of clean water. A cordwainer. A shoemaker, and this was a shoemaker, specifically one who made fine shoes from leather. A higgler, HIGLER, was a traveling salesman or peddler of small goods. The costermonger, a street vendor who sold fruits, vegetables, and other goods from a cart. We still have that today, but they get called different names. A gandy dancer, GANDY, gandy dancer, they were railroad workers who maintained tracks, often singing rhythmic songs to coordinate their movements. Interesting. Match girl, a factory worker, typically a young woman or girls who made matches. Well, that's pretty self-explanatory. A wharfinger, a dock or wharf manager responsible for the shipping and storage of goods. So those were some of the uncommon historical occupations that were around. Do you have any of those in your ancestry? How do you find them? Check the census reports when they started. Yes, it was around the mid-1800s, towards the late 1800s, when they started asking what people's occupations were. But there are, oh, hello you. Somebody's been feeling a little better today too. Go lay down. You will get your treat at the end of the broadcast, okay? At the end of the show. Not before, not during, but after. Yes, I know you want scratches too. So yeah, census reports would be a good one. Even in probate records, in their wills and testaments, there'll be what their occupation was there. They may have town documents or parish records, birth records, marriage records, would all show what the occupation of the father was. Yes, you're very pretty, and I know that you're starting to feel a lot better because you're whining more. Okay, go lay down. Go on. Okay, so now let's look at specialized trade. You had a fuller, F-U-L-L-E-R, someone who cleaned and thickened woolen cloth by beating it and washing it. Yeah, interesting. cleaned thickened woolen cloth by beating and washing. That was that when they turned it into felt. I know wool and felt are related because felt is made from wool, from washing it and beating it. I wonder if that's there. Then you had a copper. A copper was a barrel maker or repairer essential for transporting goods. A chandler, the maker of a maker or seller of candles, soaps, or provisions. A fletcher, a craftsman who made arrows, essential for archery and hunting. Glazier, well, we all know what a glazier is today. It's still the same thing. A specialist in working with glass, such as installing windows. A puddler, Puddler, a worker who purified molten iron to make high-quality wrought iron. Is that any? Tell you about a wheelwright, maker of wooden wheels for carts and wagons. Going back to the puddler thing with the purified molten iron, I'm not sure if I've heard that before, but I have been. One of the books I'm currently listening to is the autobiography of Andrew Carnegie. Very, very interesting, talking about the ironworks business and then moving from iron into steel. And that's where I'm up to right at the moment. And he was talking about the quality of their iron. And so I'm wondering if they used puddlers to help purify the molten iron to give them that high quality iron that they needed. Interesting thoughts. They never actually mentioned the word puddler though. Let's see. They just talked about how the high quality of their iron, not how it got there. They didn't talk about the process of it, just that it was high quality. Okay, so community and service roles that were had during the day. It was an alewife, A-L-E, wife, one word, a woman who brewed and sold ale in medieval and colonial times. Beadle, a Beadle, a church or parish officer responsible for various administrations and ceremonial duties. Pretty sure they have a different name for that these days. We'll have to go look that one up. Rigger, a person who maintained and repaired the rigging of ships or worked with lifting equipment. Jagger, a transporter of goods, typically coal, using horse-drawn carts. Pargetter, Pargeter, a craftsman who applied ornamental plaster work to walls and ceilings. That's probably some other way to say that one. Odd or obscure jeepers, words tonight, Helen. Hang on. Okay, odd or obscure occupations. Snobscat, a cobbler or shoemaker, particularly a regional term in the 18th and 19th century England. A sagger maker's bottom knocker. Hang on. Sagger maker's bottom knocker. A pottery industry worker who made molds for firing pottery. Interesting. A powder monkey. And now I've heard of powder monkeys. A young boy responsible for carrying gunpowder on warships. Hearth money collector. A tax collector responsible for gathering hearth or fireplace taxes. I wonder if that had anything to do with the chimney taxes we were talking about yesterday, because we didn't hear about hearth or fireplace taxes yesterday, but we did hear about chimney taxes. Resurrectionist, a grave robber who supplied corpse to medical schools for anatomical study. A grave robber who stole corpses to give to medical schools. Okay. All right, so early industrial jobs, we had a navvy, Navvy, a laborer who worked on major civil engineering projects like canals, railways, and roads. A clogger, someone who made or repaired wooden-soled clogs, often worn by industrial workers. A bobbin boy, a young worker in a textile mills who replaced empty bobbins on spinning machines. Breaker boy, a child laborer in coal mines who sorted coal from slate. Interesting. And then lastly, the one we have is local or seasonal jobs. You had a shrimper, a coastal worker who harvested shrimp using nets or traps. A reaper, a seasonal worker who harvested crops by hand before mechanical reapers became common. And a salter, someone who preserved fish, meat, or other foods using salt. So, did any of your ancestors Did your ancestors work in an occupation that no longer exists or one that you have never heard of? Have we mentioned one of the occupations that your ancestors used to have? They're very interesting. There's some interesting one names, and I probably mispronounced some of them, so I apologize if I mispronounced any of them. I just basically look at a word, and I'm more of a phonetic reader of words. Ask my mom. My mom has never forgotten how to spell the word lingerie due to me thinking that the first time she took me to the lingerie store, I called it the lingerie shop. Yes. So she's never forgotten how to spell lingerie. And in one of my very first podcasts I ever did back in, it would have been like 2011 or 2012, I was talking about the Galapagos, and I did my 30-minute show. It was done on Blog Talk Radio. It is still up there on Blog Talk Radio as well. But I did my entire show talking about the Galapagos. As a travel professional, I'm talking about the Galapagos. And when I got off the show, I went into the room next to where Brad was working, and I said to myself, "Oh, so how was the show?" He's rolling around on the floor laughing. And I'm like, "What is so funny?" He goes, "It's Galapagos, not Galapagos." I was like, "Oh, well, you live and learn. It's staying out there. It's now out on the internet forever and a day, as long as Blog Talk Radio keeps their online presence going, it will still be there. It is still there to this day. In fact, I still have people. I have like 60 to 80 people listening to podcasts that I did back in 2000 for 2 or 3 years. It was like 2011, 2012 when I started. I think it was 2011. Through to when we stopped broadcasting, when we stopped using Blog Talk Radio in 2014. So just in that 3-year, we still get 60 to 80 people listening to those shows every single day. And we haven't broadcasted on Blog Talk Radio in 10 years. So it's still out there. People are still looking for the information and are still listening to it. I kind of go back and think, maybe I will go put an odd show on here and there and see what happens. But that's when I was doing a show once a week, not like the last 1962 days is how long that we have been going with the podcast since I started on the 1st of April 2019. And that we started it with Helen's Great Adventures. And then after year 3, we switched it to Before the Dirt Nap podcast. So the podcast has been going for a while, but the name changed and the format changed slightly. So with that, I'm going to go and give my dog she's looking for her advent calendar treat. And she knows she doesn't get her advent treat until after the show. So now that she's starting to feel a little better, she thinks that she can demand things a little more. Go back to demanding things. But I have to tell you, we are very appreciative of all the thoughts and the prayers and the best wishes and everything else for Zeffie and her recovery from the seizure that she had on Monday. And Tuesday she was kind of sort of normal. Wednesday and Thursday, she had a minor seizure that lasted, one on Wednesday lasted 90 seconds, the one on Thursday lasted 60 seconds. And within 5 to 6 minutes of the seizure starting, she's up running around, drinking, eating, carrying on like nobody's business. Yesterday, she had no seizure. She kind of looked like she was about to start. Like the tongue came out. She started panting funny, but it lasted all of 10 seconds and it was done. I mean, I was sitting here when she started and she was sitting on the recliner. I was getting ready to go onto a Zoom call with a friend, and I turned around and looked, and she suddenly stuck her tongue out and started panting, and I just went straight over to her, started stroking her, started talking to her, and less than 10 seconds later, she's out of it. And then I waited a few minutes, just kept talking to her, and a couple of minutes later, she started again, quickly out of it. So it was a minor thing, and I've come to the theory that because of her UTI, it drops her blood pressure when she exercises, which is why the vet told us no exercise. I was like, yeah, right. This one. So I've come to the conclusion that even no matter how short of a walk we do, the exercise raises her heart rate and all that. The infection kicks in, and her blood pressure will suddenly drop, and she starts walking like a drunken sailor. So I have and then the seizures have come about 20 to 30 minutes after we've gotten home after her little drunken episodes. And so I've come to the conclusion that maybe the lower blood pressure triggers the seizures because the brain's not getting enough blood or something. But I'm able to calm her down pretty quickly. So that's my working theory. She has not had one today. In fact, tonight's walk, she just wanted to keep walking, and she wasn't dragging her feet at any time, because that's been the first indicator that her blood pressure is starting to drop, as she starts dragging her back feet as she trots along. And she basically kept up the same energy level the whole way, which I was very thankful for. So it looks like she's taken a turn for the good. So we just got to keep an eye on her. But somebody's wanting to play, and she's not allowed to play right now. So she's kind of getting annoyed with me because I'm telling no when it comes to play. So I've got to find some other way to try and keep her entertained without raising her blood pressure, without making it look like exercise, because exercise drops her blood pressure and then we have problems. So 2 days, no seizures. Fingers crossed, prayers and everything that this keeps going. She does have a follow-up visit with the vet on Wednesday. So we will just keep hoping and praying that everything goes okay and that this UTI is finally getting out of her system, and to the point now that the infection is not affecting her blood pressure levels, which is thereby affecting her coordination. So thank you, everybody, for your thoughts and prayers on Zephy. With that, we are out of here. We'll be back tomorrow evening at 6 p.m. Pacific. Until then, have a super fantastic sparkling evening. Hei konera.